Today we have the opportunity to speak with Christopher Corey, who spent 27 years in the Marine Corps active duty Central Intelligence Agency as a black operative. First of all, Christopher, I'd like to thank you for your service to our country. And
Thanks, Jim.
are you currently active duty?
Yes.
Okay, could you please start at the beginning, Christopher? Back in the 40s, when we decided to get rid of American exceptionalism and how the powerful inside governments had to start the reset program.
Well, what it was originally back in the 1940s, it was decided that America had become too big, too complex, and too rigid for America to stay dominant internationally. And they decided the only way to fix the country was to have a reset. And the best way to have a reset was to have a revolt and then have the military basically constitutionally check and balance the civilian government and the civilian courts.
Would that involve declaring the War Powers Act by the U.S. president?
No, I don't think so, because this will be the military constitutionally checking and balancing the executive branch and the judicial branch. So the president and the courts won't have any say in it.
Okay, that's really interesting. And now, in some,
And let me just tell you this one thing quick. This is kind of the whole center of the operation. Right now, what you guys call the Illuminati or the deep government or the vast right-wing conspiracy, they control the military, and whoever controls the military is going to control the government reset. And so that's kind of the point of my operation, is to get honest people in control of the military and let them know that the military is going to control the reset so that the dishonest people don't have carte blanche to do whatever they want.
well, we know that like the Bushes weren't they in the Skull and Crossbones, and isn't that an Illuminati organization?
Oh, yeah,
College?
the secret, you guys are dead right about that. The secret societies are definitely part of this, and that's something we want to clean up.
Clean up, and that would be happening through the reset.
Yes, or after the reset.
Okay, now if you're CIA, why are you allowed to be speaking to us about this?
Well, because honestly, this is a black operation, and the whole point of black operations is to destabilize the country. And honestly, by me coming forward and going public with it, it will further destabilize the country. But also, the American people need to know this is going to happen because they need to have a month to 3 months worth of food, because there are going to be huge supply chain issues during the reset, and there's going to be a lot of problem getting food out, and the military is going to distribute food, but in the beginning there will be a lot of violence around the few food distribution points, and people will be killing each other for food. So if you have food, you can just stay home and avoid all the craziness and just eat your food until things settle down, and then you can go out and start getting food after about the first month once things have had time to settle down.
Wow. And how soon is that going to be coming?
I would say anywhere from this next election, I'm supposed to say within the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years, but honestly, I mean, from what I've seen, it could be this next election. Because everything, if Trump does win, the liberals are going to be really, really angry, and that could possibly cause the rioting. So you just want to look for events that can trigger widespread nationwide rioting.
Right now,
And what you really...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you just want to pay attention. What you want to look for is if you start seeing the Rodney King riots or the LA riots happen again in one city, you want to pay really careful attention and see if it spreads to other cities. And if the rioting starts to spread to other cities, that's going to be a good indicator we're about to have the reset.
All right, so it'll be the rioting kind of like we saw in the 2020s. You had mentioned in some of your TikTok posts that there's going to be controlled rioting. I don't quite understand. It seems to be an oxymoron of words, controlled rioting.
Oh,
We
it
usually
won't be
rioting is
controlled.
frivolous.
It's going to be... No, I guess I misspoke. I guess what I should call it is a limited controlled revolt. And it's not really controlled in the sense we're not controlling the rioting, but we're controlling what kind of revolt it's going to be. So instead of having all the right-wing nut jobs that want to go out and kill everybody, we're going to use angry liberals and let them riot and have that Because rioting, see, what most people don't know is people get the urge to kill out of their system fairly quickly. So if you have riots and they go around and they get it all out of their system, it only takes them a few days to get the violence out of their system,
Right.
and then they'll settle back down.
Right. Kind of like the soda machine that didn't give you the pop, and you go kick it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
get.
now, with veterans, especially because veterans are the only demographic in America that can successfully revolt. So obviously we don't want them revolting because we don't want a full-blown revolution. We want something small that's going to be over quickly, because one of the key goals of this operation is to keep the economy going. And if we have a full-blown revolution, that will kill the economy. But having rioting for a week, that's going to hurt the economy, but it won't kill the economy. And we're also going to be, if you guys have heard the conspiracy theories about how they're suppressing technology, that's actually true. And they're going to be releasing all the technology that they've been suppressing after the reset to boost the economy. So you're going to see a lot of new technology come out after the reset. And it's going to be a really exciting time for all us geeks.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting. I definitely look forward to that kind of. I heard that COVID-19 though was supposed to be the global reset. How does that compare to the American reset?
Well, this is going to be because America is basically the leading country in the world. I mean, it still is. You can argue China a little bit, but America still is the dominant country in the Western world. And so we're going to lead the global reset, because when America does this, and they didn't brief me in on exactly what's going to happen in foreign countries. I only operate domestically. But
Right.
COVID is actually global population control. The way it works is the world wars used to be the population control, because no matter what, you have to thin the human herd every once in a while. I know people don't like to hear that, but it has to happen. And you don't want to kill off your best and brightest. You want to kill off the dead weight. And I know this sounds totally ruthless, but it's the way it works in high-level government. And so this reset, when everybody loses their food and everything, it's going to kill off the right demographic. And COVID does too, because COVID mainly killed people that are old with pre-existing conditions and people that were a drain on the medical system. And I know it sounds ruthless, but that's exactly why COVID was released.
Wow. Yeah, I know. We had some personal issues with it, but yeah, it is
I'm
definitely
on it,
deadly.
so.
It's definitely deadly. Do you agree with Candace Owens' assessment that social engineering has created or tainted education for students? And if so, does it propagate a Marxist type agenda for revolution?
Oh, absolutely. It seems to be what the liberals are trying for. I wasn't briefed in on what the liberals have planned, but it does seem like they're moving towards a Marxist revolution. But like I told you, veterans are the only demographic that can successfully revolt. So they were trying to stir up the veterans and get the veterans really angry, because you have to remember, everybody in the military fights socialism and communism. That's kind of our job. And so to try and turn America into a communist country would definitely really piss off the veterans and the right. And that's how they got all of them all fired up and worked up and ready to revolt. But again, we don't want the veterans to revolt. We want the liberals to revolt and riot.
Right. Do you see a depression coming out of any of this? I mean, inflation is like at a skyrocket high. I mean, it has come down a little bit, but keeps bouncing high. Would Bitcoin maybe be a catalyst to the great
I'm glad you
reset?
said that. No, Bitcoin is a CIA scam. Do not get involved in Bitcoin. Stick with gold and silver.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, don't, because I get hit with all the Bitcoin people trying to convert me to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, they didn't explain to me what was going on there. They just told me to stay away from Bitcoin.
Well, what do you feel about our currency? Are we heading towards a depression on? I know you say you're
There's
domestic.
going to have to be some kind of currency reset after that. Because what do we have now? 32 trillion in national debt to China. So something's going to happen there. But they didn't tell me exactly what they were going to do.
Right, especially with 3 months of like sheltering in place. Now that could actually, if they time it right, go right to the election again.
Yeah, I don't think, and actually, if they try and make people shelter in place, that's another thing that could spark the revolution or the revolt. Is people aren't going to settle down and shelter in place again because, I mean, look at all the problems those lockdowns caused the first time around. I mean, people were getting evicted, they couldn't go to work. And I had to work undercover as a fine dining server for 8 years because when you talk to the really wealthy people, especially at private golf clubs, you get the unfiltered truth instead of the propaganda. So they had me working as a fine dining server at really high-end golf clubs so I could get the actual scoop on what was going on instead of having to rely on the news.
Right. You know, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're kind of running out of time. Thank you so much for coming on our show, Christopher. We do appreciate your insight into what goes on and that we don't see a lot of times behind the scenes. This is the What's Going On podcast with your host Jim Missile. We hope you enjoyed our show today and our interview with Chris. And if you do, please leave your comments in that. And I'm hoping to have Chris on once again. Thank you so much for joining us.